Potatoes is full bloom. Walk over and see how tall they are. Give you something to compare to. Now they're up to my waist about it. And they say, I guess when they're blooming, they're making them potatoes, so they go in a hurry when they start growing. Now I told you, I guess the last video I made, that we would keep you up to par on this other part that we'd planted. Well, you can see a row of beets popping up there. That's another row of potatoes that we put in good and deep with the shovel. Row of onions. And the corn, it's up about, oh, I don't know, 8 to 12 inches. It didn't come up as thick as I was hoping, but there's plenty there anyway. Let's go on the other side over here. Well, I've got a fig tree in that bucket right there that I'd started last year. And then some tomatoes in that sack. We're just seeing how they're doing. I'll wheel around here and show you this Swiss chard and kale. It seems to be doing okay. I'm going to have to move this camera because the sun's going to be beaming right in our face. That's kale. And this one is the lettuce starting to come on. And while I'm here, I'll give you a shot inside the greenhouse. The catastrophe area. So there's some Swiss chard, some old cucumbers that should have been out, some watermelons right there that's come up. Took a while for them to come up. The rest of the tray's already planted in the field. Tomatoes, peppers, I just watered them while they're laying down. And of course we got a few plants over there. That's just past due to be set out. And I've been working on the garden out here, so it won't stay in here much longer. Today or tomorrow it'll be in the garden. Most of it. All right, let's go out here. We'll show you something here. It's obvious what this is, what I'm doing. But now I went many a year and didn't do this. Right here makes all the difference in the world. It don't take just a lick or two. You can feel the back side, I always do. You can feel this little burr, just a little burr, after you hit that a few times with that file. And what I like to do, I just take it lightly. 1, 2. And that burr's gone. And that hole is almost razor sharp. This right here is a 12-inch. It's a 12-inch single cut bastard mill file. A Nicholson, good file. And when I get done filing, I always take a file card and hit that. You wouldn't have to do it every time, but I figure if I do it every time, next time I pick it up, it'll be clean. And what that does is those little fine teeth clean those cutting teeth out. So anyway, that shines that up, and it's like, I'll show you in a minute how sharp that is. Let me turn this off. Here's a little onion patch. You can see just now starting to form heads. It's time to go through there and, well, in another week, it'll be time to go through there and remove some of the dirt and mulch away from the bulbs where they'll have no problem expanding. In this mulch, it's really uncalled for. You wouldn't have to do it anyway. It'll move that mulch, but I like to give them plenty of room. Got a few little heads of cabbage in there in the bean tunnel. We'll go over there and look. While I'm here, might as well show you some Egyptian walking onions. It's not a good time to be out here filming in the sun right in our face, but maybe it'll come out. Those onions, I'm telling you, I'm gonna put my glasses back on. Sunglasses, I can't see nothing. I'll see if I can't walk over and show you. Of course you can see it without my help, no doubt, but tilt it down a little bit. Now these, right here, even the sets is putting sets on. And believe it or not, and the sets are putting more little onions on. But these will fall over. This big stalk will fall over and it'll hit the ground. All these little ones will replant themselves and start growing. Let me go right here and I'll show you. I'll ease over this way a little. You can see the onions, and you can see that one that's fell over. You know, those onion sets right there, they've not yet, but they will take root. I guess that's why they call them walking onions. See this one here? It's getting ready to fall over. But you can break them off and reset them. They usually do good, they say, the second year. And actually, this is the second year on this one. I'd lost the start of these. I had a big patch, something happened to them. I think a lawnmower. I got tired of fooling with them, mowed them down a time or two, and it just obliterated them. But even those right here needs covered up. But you can throw an onion on top of the ground, it'll live about it. Got a few zucchini right there started. They're starting to do all right. Tomatoes caged out through there. They're starting to bloom. Rhubarb. Beans, bean tower. Won't be long till well, they're already running. We'll go over and look. Well, those are figs. I cut those off level with the ground because they got out of hand. So they're pretty thick right now. What my intentions is to go in there and select, half a dozen good shoots and get rid of the rest, let them grow. Done that to all of these. This one right here beside them, I just kind of trimmed it a little high, and you can see how they're bushing out at the top. Thing of it is, time they grow up, I actually pinched the buds out of those right there to get them to fork yesterday. But if you leave them up like that, thing of it is, they grow, and the figs are so high you can't really reach them. But anyway, now they'll come on from the ground. If it gets, down below 10 degrees in the winter, most of the time these figs freeze off the top of the ground. It'll kill the tops, but they'll come back and regrow and produce figs that very year. They're fast growing when they get started. You can see the garden where I've been working on it today out there. Around the old orchard, I used to have that chipped, and over the few years I've let it get away from me. So sometimes you have to do what you have to do, and a good tractor and a tiller beats a rake and a hoe all to pieces in certain conditions, and that was one of them. We'll walk over there. Okay, this is a little strawberry patch. There's about 50 strawberries we planted in there, and the day before yesterday, I think it was. And you can't hardly see them. I think right here, where's it at? I believe it's right there in the center. Center of the picture. You can see just a little bitty green speck. That's a strawberry coming out. But anyway, they'll come on. And Daikon Radishes. My son gave me a little pill bottle full of those 4 or 5 years ago. They're still very viable seeds. Seems like every one you plant comes up. And that's good. Lots of potatoes. The back of the bean tunnel is also later potatoes are coming on. Got some cucumbers in that grow out sack right there. See how they do with a cage around them. And I planted yesterday some jalapeno peppers. Just had a little extra space right there, and I thought it'd be a good place to plant them. Every spare spot and spare area that you can find, it don't hurt to plant something in it. There's one thing for sure, if you don't plant it, it won't grow. That's a fact. That's a goji berry. They're pretty prolific for spreading. They try to be a little invasive if you let them, but that one's not going to. Wild asparagus came up there. Just let it grow. It's doing fine. And more figs, different type of figs. Different type of figs. Okay. While I'm here, let's see. Probably be better to go in this direction. Let me move right here. I'll wheel this around, and I'll show you some what persimmons look like when they're starting as little ones. I'll try to anyway. I'll have to see if I can't locate some in a direction that's gonna focus. Maybe behind me here. Right there's a bloom. That'll be a good one to show you. Anyway, hope you can see it. Right here. That's a little bloom. And then they're hard to see, but you can see right here is a bloom that's not opened yet, right there, not been opened. And these are little persimmons that are forming. Now, whether they got pollinated or not, I don't know yet. And there's a dead bloom. See, and right under it is a little persimmon. But now, they could have got pollinated and they could not have got pollinated. If not, I would assume they'll fall off. And literally, this tree, as usual, is simply loaded with little persimmons. I mean loaded with them. But usually it is. So it took several years for that tree to get as big as it is. They say that what they do is for several years they'll shed a lot of their fruit. I guess till the root system builds up to where it can handle the load, and it will drop them. It helped quite a few on last year, but usually it drops them. I'm hoping this year it'll hold on quite a bit more. Let's walk on over here. You can see here where I walk through here, and this is the part that, of course, this is all was wood chips, all but real close up there by the fence row. And it's obvious when you get up there, look at the difference in the ground. I'll show you the difference. And I'll see if I can't get over here and dig down a little bit and show you what it looks like. Maybe you can see me. Whew. I need to tilt that camera up just a little. Just a little, maybe. How's that? Yeah. Now this is where I till this ground. And this is wood chips. I would assume, in where I'm standing here in this little orchard, which I've took out a lot of the peach trees, that they're just not worth it in this area. Seems like they bloom too early. Frost gets them every time. And I've got a few good harvests off the trees, but this earth's more valuable to me than a tree is. It won't produce. So they got removed. So anyway, what I started to say, the wood chips over time, since 2011, that I put on this orchard, if you had all the wood chips that I put on this, all put on at the same time, every chip that I put on it had been put on the same day, I would assume that we're probably talking about 8 or 9 feet deep. And I'd put sometimes on 2 foot deep, sometimes 3 foot, and done that several years in here. So I'm fixing to show you what the result is. And right here in front of you, and hopefully I'll dig a little hole and hopefully you can see it here. Let me hang my sweat towel up here. Let's see here. I'm just gonna dig down into the ground and see if I can get down and hit. There we go, right there. Get over here. And right there. I'm gonna see if I can't rake that back where you can see what I was dealing with years ago here. And of course it's changed a little. Let me get the camera over here where you can see. See right here. Now that right there in the bottom of that hole is what this used to be, clay, and it's loosened up this, you know, over time. But now right on over there it was red clay. But anyway, that's sandy, it's just clay. And let me back up here. But I don't care what kind of ground. I need to get out of the sun. Lordy, Lordy. I'll assure you one thing, it's not gold in there. I'm trying to get situated there. Anyway, I'll fill this hole back up. But you can see this dirt, I mean, we're talking about, that's good stuff. That's what wood chips turns into. But now we're talking several years too. It just don't happen overnight. People think, I mean, you can plant wood chips if you've got a decent soil to start with. You can plant, you know, you can put your wood chips down, but then it takes a lot of wood chips. A lot of wood chips, there's no doubt. Let me see if I can't get a better direction here. Strawberries, I'll spin around this way. Little strawberry patch we made there. It's all right, yeah. Okay. This expanded the garden quite a bit. Quite a bit. Ever spot that a person can come up with and find that I mean, if you've got grass growing on it, I mean, you can make a garden out of it. I always said if it'll grow grass, it'll grow vegetables. But it's easy to work, and I was going to show you this rake, or this hole that I sharpened, to give you an idea of what I was talking about. Let me wheel around this way. I've got a filter on this thing. I need to switch filters too. I'll give you an idea of what it'll do. A sharp one, that is. Of course, they'll all cut. But this is just effortless when you're using something that's sharp. I mean, you just touch that stuff, rake it, and it'll cut it. This shaves it off. And no big deal. I mean, before you'd have to beat like it's a chopping wood or something. But when you sharpen that hoe, it's a pleasure to use. So that's all there are to it. If you've got a garden, you'll definitely understand what that's for. Let me get one more tool over here, and I'll show you what I use it for. That's the sun shining out there. It looks like a desert, doesn't it? It's pretty warm out today, pushing 90. Anyway, now here's one of your best buddies when it comes to gardening, in this stuff, or in anything for that goes, is a garden rake. And I mean, my goodness, it's a pleasure to work with when you're in good soil. You can just smooth it down like a lettuce bed. Now I know that this garden right here started out as a no-till, and all the wood chips and stuff that deteriorated and decayed and compost down over the years is still here. It don't go nowhere. It might if you're on a hillside in a ravine where the floodwaters come through. This don't move. This lays right here for years. So anyway, this hadn't been used in several years, and I thought I can get in there and chop my guts out, or I'll take my tractor with a tiller and come in here and turn it. And all those weeds that was here are now chopped up in this. And here, I'll let you in on a secret. Some of them will try to come back. That's what that hoe's for. You take that hoe, and when they start trying to come back from seeds or whatever, while they're little, very little, you can just walk through, and there's not even hardly an effort. The biggest effort is coming out here doing it. And you know, this is something else. Now you can see right here some wood chips that I put on a couple of years ago, and it's deteriorating pretty good. But you can see the difference over here and over here. The thing of it is right here, when this ground gets in this shape without any chips on it, acting as a mulch or a barrier that keeps seeds that blows in from hitting this, because the vegetables love this, and so do weeds. And that's in any garden you'll have on this earth, practically. You're going to deal with weeds. And anyone that tells you you're not going to deal with weeds has never grown a garden. I'm talking about a garden in the soil. And a few rocks. Huh, that's unusual. 3 of them. Is them rocks or is them minerals? Oh, Lord. You can see where I chopped them weeds up today. They'll decompose. Some of them will try to sprout. And the little garden hose will go, or garden hoe will click it out. I said hoe, Chuck, garden hoe. I didn't say a backhoe. Oh, Lord. Let's walk back here on the back. We'll turn this back on. This here is our asparagus patch, and it got away from us also, as well as the rest of this garden, and because we didn't work it, had other priorities. So that was more important than being in this garden anyway. The weeds got a good start. My wife's been working on that little patch right there this spring, and she's got it looking good. We like to lost it because the weeds, Johnson grass and weeds, poke, what you name it, came up in there and took all the nutrients from the asparagus. And the asparagus didn't get to go through its photosynthesis and build that root. So, you know, this year she cleaned it all out and we're letting it go and try to strengthen the roots. Meanwhile, 2 pieces of wood laying there, a chunk there and a chunk there. That's the 2 rows going down that way, and that's where that row right there ended, at the end of that, which is straight across from the asparagus there. This asparagus patch is purple passion asparagus, and we've planted 40 crowns in there, so that'll be something to look forward to. It'll come on. Meanwhile, right out there, I think they call them castor beans, which is deadly poison, I think. Mole beans, castor beans. That's what I told my wife yesterday. I said, people know they're deadly poison. Why in the world would you plant them in your garden? But anyway, I think they used to use them years ago to scare the moles off or poison them or something. That's sunflowers. Voluntary come back from the sunflower she had there last year. And we'll just let it grow. You can see the potatoes that's in bloom and taller down through there. And then you can see the potatoes here. That's I think there's 2 or 3 rows there, shorter rows. And they're later. The reason they're later is because we just didn't have time to plant them all at once. Through here, this coming on right now, I think that's cucumbers. Cucumbers, a few of them right through there, and then finishing that row out down through there is eggplants. And then right over on the other side of them, which you barely can see, they're young, is a little row of okra down through there. Just starting. So let's go over here on the other side now. It's the little tomatoes. They're just now starting to take off pretty good. Asparagus vines. There's the mole bean I was talking about. Castor bean, mole bean. Got some garlic out through there. That's elephant garlic. Be enough to get a good start on. Let me jump right on over here. And that's the beets that's coming on. I think them's Detroit, red Detroit dark red, or whatever they call them. Potatoes are doing all right. Onions, corn, and let's walk on over here. This is, I caught this swarm here earlier of bees, and we'll have to mow the grass around the beehives. There's a tendency for the grass to get higher around the beehives in the summer. For some reason, I don't know what that is. It could be that we don't knock my mic off again. It could be that we just don't want to get too close to the bees when we're mowing. There's the corn. That corn is... I'm going to have to figure out something else for the microphone. This ain't working. I put it under my shirt or something because I've knocked it off 4 times. Put it right there. Maybe that'll be better. So anyway, did you see that? I'll just help that rake up on its edge there, and you can see that corn's taller than it. So that's a good, I don't know, 12, 14. I don't know what it is. Maybe 14-inch rake or something. Anyway, here's the garden. And of course, it kind of looks like a desert right now, but it'll change. Just like I said, as it comes in, I'll show you. Let's go look at the beans before we go. Okay, you can see the beans starting to run up the crop netting there. Those beans are Vortex beans. They're big long beans, and not a string. And as far as I'm concerned, they're as good a tasting as any bean. By not having to string them, you could sacrifice a little taste. It goes all the way around that. That's 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. It's about 40-foot row, actually, is what that equivalent to, of beans. And they'll climb all over that and cover that. It's be a big tunnel of beans when they get done, and you can pick them from the outside, and then you go inside and you can pick them from the inside. So I would assume that you could almost call it an 80-foot row. Anyway, that grows all the beans we usually need. Could be a different story this year. Let's hope not. Let's just hope not. So I'll have lots of peppers and maybe some squash and watermelons and maybe a few pumpkins or something up in there. Anyway, that's all we'll deal with today. And let's see if we can't get this edited and make something out of it. Talk to you later. Well, I can't go in without showing you the blueberries starting to ripen. They're starting to. Got 3, I see. Now this bush here is a different kind. I think they call that rabbit ear, rabbit eye or whatever. That one's not started. Well, actually they are a few starting on it. And got 4 through here, blueberry bushes. I'd like to have 24, and I'll walk on over here and show you the other one. Okay, again, it's bright out here. maybe you can see them berries, because it's about all I can do to see the viewfinder. You can see they've got a potential to be loaded this year with berries. And it goes way up there. I think that's the sky, top of the house. Blueberries. Anyway. It's a good one. That's a good one. All right, that's it.